Welcome to Vantage, Aditya. There are many ways power reveals itself in human life: wealth, status, charisma, influence. But beneath all of that lies something older, something far darker, something so subtle it can enslave without ever lifting a weapon. It's called the fear-hope cycle, and once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Stay with me till the very end, because this cycle is not only the most terrifying power tactic of all, but also the hardest one to escape. The pattern is deceptively simple. First, you create fear. You withdraw safety, stability, or affection. Then, when the victim is most desperate, you restore it. You become the source of comfort, of hope, of relief. Fear weakens. Hope binds. And when repeated enough times, the victim no longer craves freedom. They crave only the next drop of relief from the person who controls both fear and hope. That is how the cycle turns people into willing prisoners. Picture a relationship. A partner who yells, insults, accuses, makes threats to leave. The other person is left trembling, insecure, desperate for reconciliation. Hours later, the same partner softens. They apologize, bring flowers, whisper tender words. The relief is overwhelming. Gratitude floods in. The brain clings to this sudden kindness as proof of love, ignoring the cruelty that caused the pain in the first place. That is how trauma bonds are formed. It is not the abuse alone that binds. It is the abuse mixed with rare, unpredictable moments of affection. The victim starts believing that survival depends on staying. Now shift to the workplace. A boss calls a sudden meeting. Their voice is grim. The company is facing losses. Layoffs are coming. Panic spreads. Employees can't sleep. They whisper in corridors, wondering who will go. Then, weeks later, the boss returns with good news. "I fought for you. Most of you are safe." Relief sweeps the room. Gratitude replaces anger. The very person who caused the fear now looks like the savior. People work harder, terrified of being on the wrong side next time. The cycle is invisible but effective. Fear creates obedience. Hope seals loyalty. But stay with me because it gets darker. Cult leaders have perfected this pattern for centuries. They isolate followers, warning them that the outside world is corrupt, evil, or doomed. Fear blooms. Escape seems impossible. Then the leader presents himself as protector, declaring, "Here you are safe. Here you are chosen." The relief is intoxicating. Members surrender wealth, family ties, even their own identities. And when abuse comes, they endure it, clinging desperately to the hope the leader doles out. The same man who causes terror becomes the only one who offers comfort. The chains are not resisted. They are worshipped. History tells us the same story over and over. Dictators create or exaggerate crises, threats of invasion, economic collapse, invisible enemies. Citizens panic. Then the leader steps forward and says, "Only I can save you." Hope surges, loyalty deepens, freedoms vanish. The cycle binds not just individuals but entire nations. People don't see the manipulation because the relief feels like protection. They kiss the hand that holds the whip. Why does this work so powerfully? Because the human brain is wired for survival. Fear activates the amygdala, flooding the body with cortisol, narrowing focus to the threat. When relief arrives, dopamine floods the brain. The contrast between terror and comfort feels like salvation. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that keeps gamblers addicted to slot machines, unpredictable rewards after punishment. When applied to relationships or politics, it becomes trauma bonding, toxic loyalty, authoritarian devotion. Victims don't just obey. They become addicted. Think of a child raised in a volatile home. One moment, the parent screams, punishes harshly, threatens abandonment. The child lives in dread. Hours later, the parent hugs them and says, "I scold because I love you." The relief is powerful. The child learns that love comes packaged with fear, and they grow into adults who confuse instability with intimacy. The cycle doesn't just control them in childhood. It programs them for life. Or think of a hostage. Captors shout, threaten, brandish weapons. Victims quake with fear. Then suddenly a blanket is offered, or food, or a kind word. The relief feels monumental. Gratitude forms. Over time, the victim identifies with the captor. This is Stockholm Syndrome. Not born from kindness, but from the cruel trick of alternating fear with hope until victims mistake imprisonment for safety. Even in modern life, you see it daily. Advertising tells you, without this, you'll fail, you'll fall behind, you'll miss out. Fear. Then comes the solution. Buy now and you'll succeed. You'll be admired. You'll be safe. Hope. It's not about selling products. It's about selling relief from fear the company itself created. News media operates the same way. Headlines scream danger, war, pandemic, recession. Viewers panic. Then comes the reassuring line, but here's what you can do to stay safe. Fear keeps you hooked. Hope keeps you loyal. And here's the twist you must watch carefully. The cycle doesn't only trap individuals. It enslaves societies. During the Cold War, citizens lived under constant reminders of nuclear annihilation. Governments used that fear to justify surveillance, control, and militarization. Then they offered hope. Stay obedient and we will protect you. Citizens complied, grateful for the illusion of safety. Even today, fear of terrorism, fear of collapse, fear of being left behind are wielded to secure compliance. The same institutions that plant fear then present themselves as saviors. But the cruelest part of the cycle is the illusion of escape. Victims believe that relief is freedom. When the abuser apologizes, when the boss spares jobs, when the leader promises stability, it feels like liberation. But it's not freedom. It's just the next turn of the cycle. The prison is invisible because it feels like hope. Think carefully about your own life. Does your job keep you in fear, then soothe you with occasional praise? Does someone in your personal life criticize, then comfort, keeping you hooked? Do you consume media that terrifies you, then offers the solution? If so, you're not in control. You're trapped in the cycle. The cycle is powerful because it appeals to two of humanity's deepest needs, security and meaning. Fear threatens security. Hope offers meaning. And when one person controls both, they control not just your actions, but your identity. That is why abusers are defended by their victims, why employees thank toxic bosses, why citizens rally around oppressive leaders. It's not rational. It's chemical. The brain itself has been hijacked. So how do you escape? The first step is awareness. If you see violent swings between terror and relief, recognize the manipulation. Second, build stability outside the manipulator's control. Create routines. Seek validation beyond the abuser. Build networks that aren't tied to the cycle. Third, refuse intermittent reinforcement. Demand consistency. Healthy power does not swing between cruelty and kindness. It builds trust through stability. And now, the final insight. The greatest danger of the fear-hope cycle is not fear. It's not even hope. It's the addiction to the person who controls both. When someone can make you afraid and then grant you relief, they own your choices. They own your loyalty. They own your soul. The scariest truth is this: the strongest chains are not resisted. They are kissed while worn. So the question is not whether fear exists. Everyone fears. The real question is, who controls your hope? Because the one who controls both already controls you. Subscribe to Vantage Aditya, because the future belongs not to followers, but to thinkers.